Good day, everyone. My name is Michael Tomlinson, and I am an Americanteer. Today is August the 13th, 2019, and it seems like the biggest and most current issue going on right now is guns and gun control. And what should we do as Americans? And I'm not saying, that's what I say. What should we do as Americans? And not what the politicians or the lobbyists or corporations should do and make decisions for us and dictate to us what they think is relevant to us hurting each other with guns or anything else, and versus not hurting each other, And so it's not really a guns versus America issue. It's a much deeper issue. It's like gonna be unpeeling an onion with many layers, and I'll try to tackle that as an Americanteer, because I believe we all need to come to the same page and the same understanding as to what we're really talking about here. And we're talking about people's lives, first of all, okay? Innocent people have died due to other people's actions, which is very unfair and just not. It just goes to show how social distortion and social disorder really works in America. When we start to have social distortion and social disorder, social discrimination steps in, blame, separateness, judgment, and then taking action of hate. Over the past 2 years, the one thing I have noticed that I liked a lot as far as gun control goes, I'm going to start with that and work around the subject, but was with the high school students back about 2 years ago. They stood up and said that they were just completely against guns, period. And I agree with them. Even though I believe in the Constitution, I thought it was beautiful and the perfect thing for the new and younger generation to go ahead and challenge it. If anyone's going to challenge the Constitution and the right to bear arms, it's going to be the younger generation to do that. They can stop the process, question the process, and fight it. And so I encourage them to do so. Challenge the Constitution. That's what it's there for. Just because it says Constitution or it's an amendment to the right to bear arms doesn't mean it's the God-given law of the universe for the rest of mankind. It really had its purpose then at the time when it was being written, just like the freedom of press. When it was being written, the freedom of press, they didn't even know about anchormen and news media and stuff like that. The freedom of press was built and written for the people. So we could express ourselves in writing, publish our own thoughts, and freedom of speech allows us to go out and share it with each other. The right to assemble as Americans is also a part of it, and the right to bear arms. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's one thing in the beginning, and it can change and manifest into other things. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say as far as that goes with the younger generation challenging the Constitution. I say go for it, do it, don't hold back, don't take no for an answer, and let's see what happens. Then maybe it's time to have that kind of discussion. Maybe it's time to have that kind of, if we're going to have separation in America, let's have that kind of division and separation between people who want to bear arms for whatever reason and the people who want to just cool it down so we can stop hurting each other. It's just unnecessary. The other thing is it just keeps going on, okay? The media is playing it off as sometimes with psychologists as gamers, has something to do with games, and why we have the mental illness going on too, and saying that people are just messed up in the head and they decide to go out and buy a gun and act out. And I believe that due to social discrimination and other issues, that how we treat each other is the real issue. I'll get to that point and I'll prove it, and I'll explain to you what I mean by that later on. But let's just keep going to the surface here, because that seems like where people want to be. They want to talk more about the surface of the problem rather than dive into the root of the issue, so we can really start to solve it and become healthier, better Americans. Okay, and we can all be part of the solution. In fact, we all have to be part of the solution in order to be resolved. The only real people to blame right now or anything to blame, is just ourselves. We brought this on ourselves as Americans. We allowed it to happen. Okay, we allowed hatred to take over. We allowed corporations to take over. We allowed politicians to ignore issues. And therefore, the price that we are all paying now is killing each other. And that's what it's come down to. And we don't have to kill each other to get our point across. That's just not a good solution. There are other better solutions. Joining in the Americanteers is one solution. Being a part of a working solution is one way of getting involved, and participating with other Americans. Back to guns. Other thing I'm going to go ahead and come out and say is that I believe in the right to bear arms, first of all. So if you're thinking that I'm in front of this camera saying I'm against you for the bearing arms, I'm here to tell you I'm not. I believe in the right to bear arms. There isn't anything wrong with that. I also believe in the right that someone should challenge that too, because I'm not, just because I say I believe in the right to bear arms doesn't mean I'm saying I believe it's everyone's right to own an AK-47 and hand grenades and extra magazines and things like that. That would actually almost become like a personal war against thy neighbor if it necessary. And that brings up another interesting point with this onion thing and the right to bear arms, is that I believe that the reason no other countries actually come over into America and just drop in on us and try to invade America is because they know they would not be up against just the military or the law enforcement of the community they dropped in on. They're going to be up against every American that owns a gun, and there's no way another country can step in and just go against everyone. So if it was just a military upon military thing, who knows? We might be invaded. We could be invaded, but it's not. And other countries have made the mistake of making everyone in the community register all the vehicles, so all their guns, that's right, register all their guns. So when Russia took over Poland at one point, all they did was go to the county clerk office, pull out the records of everyone that owned a gun, and then went to everyone's home address and seized all the weapons. And so they totally disarmed communities in Poland that way, just by using their own information against them of gun control. So we got to be weary and think about that. When I talk to other Americans about why they do it, hoard guns or love guns so much in that extreme way, I don't really get much, maybe there's some good justifications, good excuses, and but nothing really all that relevant. When someone tells me that they have the right to bear arms just in case the government tries to take over, like we are taking over ourselves, like we go into a military state, or is when the government decides to go ahead and take over a city or a country or a town, something like that, and Americans can defend themselves against the government. And that seems to be like public enemy number one to me. It seems like when I do talk to hardcore Americans, they it boils down to just in case the government tries to step in and take my land or seize my assets, or it's my right to fight for my home, kind of thing. And at the same time, though, what becomes a contradictory, or the opposite, flip side of that, is I talk to the same people, but they totally believe in the government. They totally believe in the system. They're sold. They drink in the Kool-Aid. They don't even see the problem with the government. They don't want to change the government at all. But yet they have this deep-rooted fear of the government at the same time. So it really, it's kind of like taking two sides, and that's just confuses everyone. Because if you're fearful of a government, then you should not be. First of all, we should change America so the government people should not fear the government. The government should fear the people. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap up with that because I think I'm running out of tape. But again, my name is Michael Tomlinson. I am an Americanteer. Glad to be here. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Thank you.